The war in Gaza has caused a pullback in Israeli tech investment. High-tech's share of the country's GDP rose to 18% of Israel's economic growth by 2022. The war has dampened some of that optimism. Reuters reporting that startups in the country only raised $6 billion last year versus $16 billion in 2022. Joining us now live at Post 9 is Aleph co-founder and general partner Michael Eisenberg, whose VC fund focuses on Israeli entrepreneurs, holds $850 million under management, has had some big exits like Lemonade and Wix. It's good to have you here.
Nice to be here. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Sarah.
So what are you seeing in terms of VC and tech activity post-October 7th?
So since October 7th, our firm has made 5 investments in Israeli companies. We think this is one of the greatest opportunities ever to invest in Israel. Israel is the most resilient, the most optimistic, and kind of most important areas of innovation now battle-tested during this time. And so what we're seeing coming out since this horrific event of October 7th and the massacre by Hamas is the Israeli population and entrepreneurs delivering on innovation, coming up with earth-shattering ideas, and we've put our capital behind that. And we're optimistic right now.
Even with so much of the population being called to fight. It's a lot of these employees of these companies.
Yeah, as you know, I've had 4 children who've also been serving in Gaza, and what we see is Israeli technology delivers. And our companies have had between 15 and 20% of their employees on reserve duty, but more than half of them beat numbers in Q4. They're sitting there and delivering. That's part of their job in this battle. And more importantly, the innovation, again, that's coming out of this is stunning. We're seeing the best entrepreneurs and the best companies we've seen in a very long time.
Even before October 7th, we were talking about judicial reform and sort of structural, troubles in their geopolitics, their internal structures. Where does that place now, given what's happened since?
That's a great question. Certainly the judicial reform has receded into the background due to the war, and the country has kind of unified around what's going on now. I think the important thing to think about is we're in a world now where there's a big leadership vacuum. Like 70% of Americans don't want to see these 2 presidential candidates run against each other. Politics globally is in a mess, but what Israel has is a civic society that has stood up. People dropped what they were doing, they went to fight. People dropped what they were doing, went to serve other people. People dropped what they were doing and went to innovate more and more. And I think the 21st century countries that are going to do well are those with powerful civil societies, those with a lot of resilience, and Israel's got a lot of battle-tested resilience, and those that know how to innovate through this mess. And this society has now come together. It doesn't mean that our politics are great. I don't think they're great anywhere right now. And by the way, we talked about, or the press talked about, the Moody's rating downgrade. Yeah. If you read the Moody's rating downgrade, what you'll see is most of it's focused on the war. And the war must be won. And that will help restore the rating. The other thing they pointed out was the Israeli government needs to make some hard decisions on civilian issues and how they allocate budgets and what investments they make in growth. And we need to do that. We need to invest much more in AI. We need to invest much more in semiconductors and chips like everybody else does in the Western world. And this is going to be important, and they're going to have to make some hard choices.
The other chart that gets passed around a lot right now is the high level of dry powder in VC. Is that reflected from where you stand as well?
I'm not certain. I think there's a lot of LPs that don't want to continue investing in some of these funds. I think that's perhaps an overstated number. We've seen a lot of growth funds retreat during this time. But I think the early stage venture capital tier, which is where I sit and where Benchmark Capital and Sequoia sits, is super vibrant right now. And we'll discover that not just in Israel, but in the United States, 22 and 23 would have been great times to invest capital. And like I said, we think this is the best time ever to be investing in Israel, certainly in the 28 years I've been investing in Israel.
Well, you have a front row seat, and you're there, and you're in Israel. What about the foreign investors? You just listed Sequoia and Benchmark. I mean, Israel has been a hotbed of activity for venture capital over recent years. Is that still continuing? Is there interest in helping rebuild?
So since October 7th, our portfolio companies, 3, went out to fundraise. We raised $150 million from global investors, not Israeli investors, Silicon Valley, London. People came, people invested. You'd be shocked to see around Tel Aviv foreign investors walking around. They get it too. It's safe in Tel Aviv, despite the news reports. And investors have turned up to invest. I think, by the way, the differential you showed before has much more to do with the base model AI investing, large language models that happened mostly in Silicon Valley and a little in France over the last year and a half. And Israel does not have that base model. Where we're succeeding in AI is a lot of these paper-based processes and high regulatory processes where you can apply AI to make these processes much more efficient and much smarter.
So you think the market share just moved a little more towards Silicon Valley?
over the last year and a half, these base models which raised billions and billions and billions of dollars. Now, Sam Altman's talking about $1 trillion. That moved to Silicon Valley. Israel will get the second phase of this.
What do you say to investors that are wondering when the war ends and how costly it's going to be for Israel's economy and its government?
Israel entered this war with a great debt to GDP ratio, 65%, one of the best in the Western world. We entered it really well. We need to increase our defense spending, like I think most economies around the world are figuring out right now, and that'll be a hit. So we have to make hard decisions on the political side. The Israeli government, the finance minister, and the prime minister made hard decisions. But there is no alternative other than winning the war against Hamas. And Moody's pointed out that there may be a war in the north, and I think that could happen. Iranians are not helpful actors on the global stage, to say the least, and Hezbollah, a terrorist organization, is threatening us. Losing the war is not an option, and I trust that our army will get after this and finish it, and then we can get back to full-time business. But I think we're in good shape, provided we don't squander that 65% debt to GDP ratio, and it will go up a bit, but I think we can handle it. And by the way, international investors just turned up and bought Israeli bonds like they were going out. They got an extra bit of interest, an extra return, and they know that Israel can stand behind its commitments and pay its debts.
Michael, thank you very much for the update.
Thank you for having me.
Hope everyone back home is safe. Michael Eisenberg, Aleph co-founder and general partner.